I'm Charlie Mato-Toyela with Blue Bear Flutes. Of course, our website, bluebearflutes.com, where you can find some of the latest and greatest Native American flutes available in the world, anyway, at least on the web, and quite possibly the most affordable ones you'll ever see in your life. Anyway, today's video is just a really short, kind of simple video that I've been wanting to share for a long time. Sometimes we make videos to show you some of the trials and tribulations we go through in producing flutes for so many people all over the world. And sometimes we make videos like that to show you how we do things that maybe sometimes help us speed up a little bit of the process. What I'm going to show you today is how I turn this piece of leather into lace that we make flute ties out of. And I'll tell you this just as a backstory here. In the old days, we used to buy rolls from craft stores of leather lace, and we got to the point that we were just really dissatisfied with how it breaks so easily. And you would buy 20 different rolls of leather lace, even from high-end companies that sell the best quality leather lace, and it would just break no matter what. Eventually, a friend of mine told me about a person who sold lace kind of like, I think they have a catalog, but they only sold it in pieces that were about 4 or 5 feet long, and that kind of confused me. I wondered what was going on there. And of course, I knew about the machines that cut leather lace, which is not what the companies that sell leather lace on a roll, that's not quite what they do. They do a couple of different things to make that happen. A lot of times they'll actually splice leather lace together to make more pieces, a longer piece rather. Anyway, the person that sells the 5 foot long leather cords, I thought, well, that sounds like a great idea. It saves me money. And they sold leather lace made out of some of the most popular tie, material that you can get, like elk and buffalo and deer skin and whatever you ask for. I thought that was really great, but in my experience, it was either too wide or too fat or too this or too that, too whatever. And it just didn't work for me, to say the least. And I didn't want to buy one of the big expensive machines that would only cut pieces as long as my half a cow I shove in there is, which is usually about 4 or 5 feet in length. And oh yeah, I guess I should say, for all of the vegans out there, you might want to turn this video off, because I don't think it applies to anything else we can do here. Of course, if you vegans do want something other than leather tying your flute, all you gotta do is ask. We usually try to accommodate too. Because personally, I don't know if y'all watched my video on leather tying alternatives and what have you, but one of my favorite ties that I have is a cord, but we don't tie our flutes with it generally. So this is a scrap of leather. There was a time when I was buying scraps of leather from hobby stores, and what I'm going to do right now is cut it in a relative square. Relative square meaning it's not perfect. I'm not measuring this out because I don't exactly care. Usually in the shop we have moments or seconds, not hours, to measure each and every little piece of square of leather. I mean, this piece here still will be useful. And what I'm going to do is take, and I hope it's a sharp one, I'm going to take a fresh one of these leather lace cutters out of the bag, which we've got a bunch of. I'm not selling these, and that's not the reason that I'm showing you this video. The reason that we wanted to make this video, basically, like I say, to show you what we do. And additionally, for so many people out there who say, where do you get this lace from that's the best lace in the world? I want to show you where we get this lace from. It is the best lace in the world. So this company name up here, you can Google it if you want to. I don't really care. Like I say, if Igear is a company that's still selling today, usually when I buy these, I get them from Tandy Leather. This company is either a knockoff or it is the company that Tandy Leather buys from. It's got 2 little springy doos on it, one that I usually take off, one that I usually choke down. And I'm so glad that while I was in the shop, that's what I mean by choking it down, there's like a ridge that it goes around. When I was in the shop, I didn't pay attention to see if there was a blade on this one, and there's not. And I just dropped one of the extra little springy things. I don't know why they give you extra ones, because you never need them. I have wore out more of these than I ever have of these. I guess you might lose it or something, like I just dropped that one on the floor. Anyway, it comes with, or at least this one comes with, an extra razor or 2. Most of them come with only 1 razor. This looks like it has a total of about 3 in total, which that's cool. These little lace cutters at the time of this video cost about $6 or $8. After this video, they're probably going to be $200 or $300. Oh gosh. Anyway, it's got a couple of slots in it, and you can't really see them. Even if I zoomed up on it, it wouldn't really do any good. There's 2 slots, one for narrow and one for kind of a fat setting. We usually leave ours on the fat setting because it's not really that thick. So the blade just kind of slides up in there. Super easy. Don't cut yourself. Oh my gosh, if you buy one of these, I would feel so bad if you cut yourself. These blades are literally razor sharp. I mean, they're incredibly sharp. It's called a Skivers, I think, blade. I'm not sure what they're made for. And if you know, you're welcome to post it in the comments below. Probably a lot of people have thrown these away because most people get this tool and can never figure it out. It doesn't make any sense to them. A lot of people settle on a ring knife that is a ring with that similar blade in it, and you put it on the leather and you can pull it a little bit and get kind of a length going. But this tool, it's made to cut out of the middle of something. And so I just folded my leather into fourths so that I could find the center. And I'm going to use these incredibly cheap and super sharp scissors. These scissors here are insanely sharp. I mean, it's just like butter, right? Always keep a couple of those around too. I guess if I'm doing a plug for Tandy, I'll tell you these come from Harbor Freight. They're like 79 cents. All you Chinese folks in the manufacturing plants out there, thank you. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. I know these are the scissors y'all probably use in your shop because they're super cheap over here and people are like, I hate this, you know, but it's what you get. Anyway, so I cut kind of a hole out of the middle. Looks like an eyeball more than a hole, not a circle. I mean, a circle works better, but I'm not in the shop. There's no talking about this when we're making leather lace. And we don't spend the time to say, oh, I need to make this perfectly circular. Although I have seen different people use different methods of this, and yes, a round hole makes a big difference. It really does help. So if you're starting out, you have one of these in hand, stop the video, make sure that hole is round. It really does help. I don't need it to be round. I could cut a square hole out of this. I've cut this stuff on the outside. I mean, I've used one of these since I was 10 or 12 years old. That's some time I've put in with this sucker. I have taught lots of people how to use this thing, and I don't know if it's left or right-handed. I usually hold it in my right hand, which makes most of you lefties say, oh, it's right-handed. But a friend of mine is left-handed who is really good at this, by the way. And I think he holds it in his right hand, but you'll see what I do with my left hand here, and you'll be like, oh, maybe it is left-handed. I don't know. Anyway, there are 4 notches in addition to the 2 different razor positions that you can put it in. I'm going to select the second largest notch. And what I'm going to do is line that notch up with my leather, and I'm going to give it a twist like this as I push. And that sharp little blade really does a number on getting this thing going. And I mean, you can see it's happening by itself already, right? I've only got 2 pieces with me, so watch closely. You just pull this. I keep my thumb in here for a guide, and I just pull this stuff and pull this stuff. I mean, it's like I was born for this. Okay, I'm getting a little thin there on the lace, which usually means this blade may not be the best. We usually buy separate blades instead of using the ones that come with them. Anyway, and you see how the last couple of pieces just fell off of it. There's a bit of leather lace. Now this is more than 5 feet long. The thing that's good about this for someone like myself who, you know, we make a lot of flutes, is if I relied on 5-foot pieces of leather lace all day long, I would find that, and I'm not dogging those people that sell the leather lace, more power to them. Anybody that opens a small business or medium or even a large business that can keep afloat and keep doing their thing, you know, you've earned my respect. As long as you're appropriate and, you know, all my normal disclaimers. Anyway, the thing about using a 3-foot piece, a 4-foot piece, or a 5-foot piece of leather lace, or XYZ size piece of leather lace, is once you tie this on a flute and wrap it on there and tie a knot, and of course that's really kind of goofy compared to the amount of care and expertise I usually use, but if you do that, and then you go to cut another piece, sometimes you might wind up like this much too short or something. And so, I mean, that's inevitable. It's going to happen anyway. But the pieces that I wasted off of that little square were this big, you know? I mean, we're talking, the other piece is almost, I can't find it. So it's about this big, smiley face. Oh, mustache. Anyway, so you can take scraps of leather, which once again, we were buying scraps of leather doing this. And these days we buy sides of leather to do this instead of scraps. We buy quality stuff. This is what they call Kodiak. I mean, this is high-end leather here that we make our leather lace out of. And this is rather a thin piece on that second setting. Once again, depending on the quality of leather you're using, how thick it is, because if you see this stuff here, when you bend it that fourth time, or rather into its fourth quarter there, or the second time that you actually make a fold, when you bend it again, I'm always trying to think of what you guys are going to tell me in the comments. Anyway, once you bend it again, it's not bending too much. That's because it's really thick stuff. So thicker leather usually cuts better on the top or the fatter setting there, and thinner, smaller leather, which you can make some fine little leather, what they call tong, out of on this thin setting, which is great. But for us and tying flutes, we usually use it on the top two settings. The first setting I showed you is more like for our tiny flutes, and then this setting here is more like for standard just about everything. You don't want to let it get ahead. Like sometimes it'll spin. If you have a big piece of leather, it'll spin across itself while you're trying to pull it. And if that happens, it'll cut a little too thin. It tried that with me in the beginning. But there again, this is the scrap that I'm left out of a piece of scrap. And yes, I could cut this into 2 more pieces and make more leather lace. And check it out, this sucker here's like 5 feet long out of a little square, not much bigger than that. So this is really good stuff. It's taken some tweaking to find what quality, that's some tight stuff, what quality leather I want to buy to make my lace out of. And sometimes even buying that, you might cut into a piece where there's a tear or a fold during the chemical drying process or anything that they've done during tanning, and that fold may not produce a very strong piece of leather lace. But like I say, you can try it yourself, see what you think. I mean, it's not a waste of money. I use this thing, and my wife used this, and a few of our friends have used these, and even a couple of the people that work with us use these, and we use them regularly, like daily. So it's not impossible. It's just a difficult process to learn. Once you've learned how to do it, it's a breeze. So cut you a little circle, you need to position the blade so that it's in front of you and give it a twist like that. So that's really all there is to it. And then once you get it going, you can pull. If you pull carefully, you'll come out with a very even piece of leather. And once again, a little 5x5 square equaled about 5 feet for me, and some tiny little scraps that, really aren't something I need to use anymore. Back in the old days, I'd cut these up into even smaller scraps and make stuff out of them. Anyway, I hope that this helps shed some light on how we make the leather lace from leather that we buy, but we make the leather lace that goes on your flutes that you buy from Blue Bear Flutes. Any of you who are interested in making your own leather lace, I highly recommend these little tools. You'll recognize it. I mean, it's super, they're all the same, exactly the same, made out of plastic. I've been threatening to make one out of brass. Any of y'all want a science project? Build one of these out of brass for me, and I'll buy it from you for a reasonable price. But anyway, this tool here, like I say, is one that Tandy Leather sells. You can buy them apparently from a number of other companies, because I hadn't even paid attention to where this one came from. But Tandy Leather is where I usually get my blades from. There are a few retailers online that have them, but once again, not the easiest thing to come across, but once you find it, it's pretty easy to work. So hopefully this has found you all a bit of useful information, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Don't forget to check out our Instagram, which is also under Blue Bear Flutes, and our website, bluebearflutes.com. We hope to see you here again on YouTube very soon. Y'all take care.